We have a rabbi on staff, and Rishus the Rav Shlita. Otherwise,
It's a very important question. What are we doing? There are so many great Tanoim that we're graced with when we study the Mishnayos. They each have their own amazing stories. They're super inspirational. No question about it. There's a lot of, every one of them, we can make a party. But we only find something unique that Lag Ba'Omer is noted. Most of the Rabbanim, most of the Tanoim, we don't even know what their yahrzeit is. Few we do, but we don't make a celebration like we do by Reb Shimon. And the question is, what is it about Reb Shimon that he was zoicha? So there's one story that I feel is very amazing. As you know, it's interesting. Reb Shimon's personality, you think, okay, he's such a, you imagine personalities of the Tanoim. It's not really a good thing to do because who are really even come to understand them. But on the one hand, you think that Reb Shimon is like caring about everybody, or like what we would imagine. But in one way, I mean, it's interesting, the story. There was a discussion that came up discussing the Romans, famous story, and Rabbi Yehuda said we have to have special akarsa toiv to them, and everything. And Rabbi Shimon ripped on the Romans. He says whatever they're doing is for their own good. They're selfish. There's nothing to do. Word got back, and they elevated Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi didn't say anything, and he was demoted. And Reb Shimon, they wanted to kill him, and he had to run away. And he ran away to a cave with his son. Middle of the night, it was like they had to sneak out. And he miraculously survived in this cave for all these years. And what did he have to do? He sat in the Chaira, Yom V'Layla with his son, he had a chavrusa, and he achieved tremendous heights. At a certain point, he left. I'm making the story a little short. He left, and he couldn't be soivel. He couldn't handle the gashmis that people were involved in. And he was on such a high level of kedusha, such a high level of sanctity, that even one glance from him they would burn up just from the fire. They would just be destroyed. And a heavenly voice came out and says, "What are you coming out to destroy my world? Get back in the cave." And he did. He went back in the cave. Came back out afterwards. His son, Rabbi Lazar, was still that fire, and he still wanted to destroy if he saw something that looked false. And Reb Shimon, he changed. He changed his attitude. Instead of seeing the negative, he turned it around to see the positive. Until they met a Yid who was getting ready for Shabbos, and he was carrying two Adasim. He was like, "What are the two Adasim? One for Zachar, one for Shamar." And he realized that there's a lot to see in the positive if you want to look for the positive. And I feel that Reb Shimon really changed a lot of his worldview from that extra time that he took. And it manifested itself in so many areas. And we here, now, in this world where we are, where we exist, Reb Shimon's talking to us. If you go to Meron, they quote one of the psukim, Kiloi Sishachach Mipi Zara. They say it's the Rosh Aishes of Yechai, the Sefer Yechaydas. And that's connecting to a machlekes between him and the other Tanoim. Some of the Tanoim said that the Torah is going to be forgotten. Forget it. There's no chance that the Torah is going to remain by the time Mashiach comes. There's no chance. And he says, no. The pasuk says, "Ki lo yishachachti pizaroi." There's hope. There's going to be Torah. He believed in us. And I think, out of all those, I think maybe this is what it is. Why Reb Shimon has a special place in all of our hearts, that we recognize what he had to offer, is because, again, most people focus, he's the author of the Zohar, and there's the whole Kabbalistic perspective. But I think on the most simple and basic level, he trained himself. It wasn't natural. He trained himself to look at the positives of all of us. And anything that we accomplish now is because of that encouragement that Reb Shimon was telling us, that yes, even in 2026 in Tafshin Pei Vav, there's going to be Yidden who are going to be able to sit and learn Torah, who are going to know something in Torah, not on the same level, but Lo Yitzishachach Mi Bizarre, this Torah is going to continue. That's what he saw. He saw today. And that's why we have to show that appreciation back in turn. And recognize this. Obviously, Shimon, it's interesting, you're talking in the realm of halacha. Most of us are familiar that, rarely do we paskin like Reb Shimon actually. Most of the time, the other rabbis are the way we follow the halacha, the Luke, Reb Shimon, halacha Reb Yehuda. In general, he's not the main opinion that we pass. But there's a line that the Gemara says, one of the places, and it says, Kedai, this one, Reb Shimon. In the time of pressure, in the time of need.
That means now.
In the time of need, Reb Shimon is somebody that we could lean on. And I think that idea, Kedai Reb Shimon, reminds me of a very interesting thing. As you might know, I learned many years by Rav Nata Greenblatt. And there were certain things we talked about. He did Gittin at night. He says, I thought it's supposed to be, we were learning the halachas. It's supposed to be done in the day. You're only supposed to do a get at night. It's a shas etcha. And he looked at the two Eidim. He said to us, the whole Houston is a shas etcha. You don't understand. So, for me, that's very much telling. We're meaning, we're being supported. This Meicha Reb Shimon means not just that we're, relying on his opinion. Reb Shimon is what's supporting us in this time, in these tough times. He's talking in this Ikvis of the Mashiach. 10 years ago we thought it couldn't get crazier. And every year it gets crazier. That you said oh my goodness, I thought that was crazy. This is getting crazier. And it's only getting more and more crazy.
Go with Trump.
The Shas HaTchat that we're in is beyond understanding. And that's why we need to lean on Reb Shimon. We need to rely on him. That Kiloi Sishachach Mipi Zarei, it's because we believe it. That's how it starts. We trust him. And that's what our basis is. We'll be zeicha.
It is today.
I can't explain it. Why is it that we light a Madura? What the depth behind it? I'm sure there's a lot of kavanas, but what is an expression that my fire will continue all the way till Bias Mashiach. And this is what we're remembering. We're living in those times that everyone looked at in the Tanoim and they said, it's going to be crazy. There's no way, there's no way. And we shouldn't say, yeah, there's a way. It's going to happen. And that's what we're leaning on. We should be zeicha. We're living in momentous times. We have to really grab onto Rav Shimon and rely on him. And it's not just in the area of Nigla, but in the area of Heimish that we also have to grab onto. We need all the help we can get. Hashem should help us. We should be zeicha. It should be the year. Mirz Hashem. The Gula b'meir b'neibah.
Rabbi, we're doing our workout?